Check, check, check. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you?
Good. How's my audio?
Your audio sounds good. We are already live over on the broadcaster, and I'm going to start us off with a song. So I will share screens with you so that you can participate and listen to the music as well. All
Sounds
right.
good. I'm
Okay,
ready.
optimize, bam, bam. Share. Yes, people, I'm using dual mics so I sound like I'm drowning. There you go. You should sound better now. Microphone check. Blue snowball in effect. Yes, we've got Dr. Ernelin Navarro. Go ahead and give us a hip hoppy intro.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Right. All right, now let's go and find us the song of the day. So I was trying to find some Pacific Islander stuff that, I could use without getting dinged from YouTube. And I think I did pretty good. There's this guy named Sweezy. And let's see, I'm working on the playlist right now. Man, I hate this thing that it always shows up and gets in my way. Let's see here. All right. I think I just added Sweezy to the playlist. And this young lady right here, her name is Brittany. The one that you see in the front. I do believe she is from the Asian islands as well. Her family was.
Is you walking in your victory?
Yes, sir.
Using what is your foundation?
His word. See, you gotta let your spirit man emerge.
Well, I don't know how you do that.
Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn?
How you do that?
Where you gon' learn?
How you do that?
Where you gon' learn?
Is you walking in your victory?
Yes, sir.
Using what is your foundation?
His word. See, you gotta let your spirit man emerge.
Well, I don't know how you do that.
Where you gon' learn? Hey, let me talk to you real quick. Laced in the word, walking in deliverance. Foundation sitting firm, this what the business is. Sold out, and this God is my witness. Okay, and we play no games. Hands down, no why, cause we unashamed. No boasting, just bold in Christ. On fire for the Lord like fuel ignite. Ha! Amped up, but at the same time I simmer down. I tell my flesh, and then my spirit loud. Am I walking in my victory? I'm wearing the crown because my Father is the King, and I know that now. Moving in my faith, devil get up out my face, all up on my back, trying to tear me down, but he can't. I know you hear this, so quit fighting your flesh, moving your spirit.
Is you walking in your victory?
Yes, sir.
Using what is your foundation?
His word. See, you gotta let your spirit man emerge.
Well, I don't know how you do that.
Where you gon' learn?
Knock, knock. Special delivery. It's the Lord thy God, and he here to give you victory. Look, my life used to be flatline. Now I'm living my life and I'm baptized. Hand in the sky like I'm hitting my nay-nay. Hey, I'm just praising, but to them I look crazy. Praying hard to the Holy Spirit. Slay, man, I ain't talking about death. I'm talking about rest, get it off my chest. Okay, yeah, I had to break up out imprisonment. And now I'm fighting with Muhammad in the militant. Devil always been a foe, ain't nothing really different. Besides the fact I chose Christ and stuck to my commitment. I must say that it's been a success. So am I walking in my victory? Yes.
Okay.
Rockabye, baby, I'm killing the flesh. Is you walking in your victory?
Yes, sir.
Using what is your foundation?
His word. See, you gotta let your spirit man emerge.
Well, I don't know how you do that.
Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn?
How you do that?
Where you gon' learn?
How you do that?
Where you gon' learn?
Is you walking in your victory?
Yes, sir.
Using what is your foundation?
His word. See, you gotta let your spirit man emerge.
Well, I don't know how you do that.
Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn?
How you do that?
Where you gon' learn?
How you do that?
Where you gon' learn? Where you gon' learn?
Walking in the victory with purpose from the G-Meg squad. All right, I am Joseph Mikael Page hanging out with you. We have Dr. Ernelin Navarro in the building. Her building, whichever building she may be at this moment in time. That is the beauty of the internet. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab you, put you there. We'll split the screens.
Yeah, I love that song that you picked. That was like perfect. It was like actually I recognized that LA Aqueduct and the Metro Link were there where they were filming that. It's great. I love the lyrics too.
Awesome, awesome, yes. So I went to church with Tiani and Brittany, which is who you heard on the song. And Brittany, her real name is Ayako, or well, that's one of her names, you know, her name from where she comes from. And she was just an amazing talent. And I remember when I first met her, she was a secular rap artist. And I would always tell her, I'm like, well, you know God wants your gift, right? You know God wants your gift. And then one day, all of a sudden, now you're making these Christian rap videos. And I'm like, what? It manifested in my face, and it was awesome. It's awesome to see her living out her gift like that. She's now married. She's got 2 kids, beautiful babies, and her mother is, I'm not sure exactly what country they come from or the ethnic background, but she's definitely Asian, and black. So she's multiracial.
So she's what we call Blasian.
She's
so
Blasian.
Black Asian.
Yeah. Black Asian.
Yeah, so Aiko sounds Japanese. So it's a common Japanese name. So I'm assuming that her Asian half is Japanese because of the name. But it could be, people borrow names from different cultures. So I'm
recording in progress.
Okay, I just turned on our recording for Zoom. Now, you're giving me good stuff. So now, what you were saying right now is that Ayako is a Japanese name.
Well, typically, yes, but like I said, other people borrow from different cultures' names, so we can't jump to that conclusion right away that it is, but it's a Japanese sounding name if it's spelled the way I've seen it spelled. So
yeah, I think it's IHO. Let's see, because I think they show it at the beginning. Instead of calling her Brittany, they call her Ayako in the actual song. Let's see. Purpose, Tiani, Ayako. Is that how you spell it? IEHKO?
IEHK. No, that's.
I think the I might be in it. Ayako. So I guess there's no I in the middle of there. I don't know. It's kind of hard to read because they did it in graffiti.
Yeah. So she's spelling it differently then. So, I don't know what it is then.
Right. But regardless of that, she's a brilliant talent. She's just a brilliant talent, and I'm fortunate to have permission to use her music on the Hemet beat. I'm so grateful. And there was another video. Okay, I found this. His name is Sweezy. Okay. And Sweezy, I'm not sure exactly where he's from either. But
earlier when I heard you, I thought you said Sweetie, because then she's also half Filipina,
Who's Sweetie? I've never heard of her.
Oh yeah. It's Sweetie. I have to figure out how to spell that.
Okay, so before we get away with time gets away from us, so usually when we start at 8:30, we always go to I give my spiritual reverence. So I bring up the scripture of the day, which comes to us from thebiblegateway.com, and I thank God for giving me an opportunity to do what I'm doing, and that I'm not sitting at the liquor store right now, which is what I used to do at this time of the morning. At 1 to 11, 1 shot of gin. By the night, what happened? Okay, so our scripture today is coming from the contemporary English version of the Bible, and it's Romans 12:15. When others are happy, be happy with them. And when they are sad, be sad. Okay, so now it doesn't matter your religion or anything like that. Just hearing those words, what do they say to you?
I love it, because really the first 2 words that resonated with me is empathy and compassion. And so, which is what we really need in this world right now, is empathy and compassion, and then the common good for all people. So
Okay, yeah, and I think I put it out because I always post every morning with the scripture that I come across every morning, usually from the BibleGateway.com. And today I was like, well, tell me how you're feeling today, and I'll better know how uh, to cater to your need, and that was my post, basic and simple. And if you're feeling unhappy today, I'll be unhappy with you. I guess I don't want to be unhappy, but I guess I'm just gonna let myself be. And that goes back to the conversation we were having before, on the last chat we had, where we were talking about, well, what mascot would be there. I guess I'm kind of conforming and being a chameleon at this point, because I want to be what you want me to be at any moment. So how are you feeling today?
myself.
Yes. So I'll know
Oh
how
yeah,
to
no,
feel with you.
yeah, no, I'm excited about being invited here. I feel it's an honor and it's a great opportunity for me to be able to provide some additional information and awareness about the Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander community here in the Inland Empire, specifically in Riverside County. So I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, and you look fantastic. You look lovely.
Thank you.
Love the background. You did a great job picking everything that you picked. So I guess since we're going to be feeling excited today, I might as well get amped up. All right.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so now with that, we're gonna go over here and take a look at. Let's see here. Good, it moved out of my way. Weather in Hemet. It is 59 degrees right now in Hemet, and it's going to reach 81 degrees today. Not too hot. Cloud will be in the sky, and then Thursday it's going to be cloudy. Friday it'll be cloudy. Saturday is going to be cloudy. Sunday we're looking at some rain. Okay, that'll be cool. 86 degree weather and rain. It sounds pretty sticky to me. Might even go and do some fishing at Diamond Valley Lake. I mean, when the rain is out and it's that hot, you catch a few fish out there. So Monday it's going to be cloudy. Tuesday it's going to be cloudy. Wednesday we're finally looking at some sun, and I'm done. Okay. All right. We've got our viewer that always tunes in and says, God bless the show and those who listen. Welcome to the show. Would you like to say hi to our viewer that always chimes in?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm looking forward to this conversation with Joseph and hope you'll enjoy listening to us.
Okay, and for those that don't know who Dr. Ernalyn Navarro is, I'm going to go over to my good friend. I call her Mainframe. So I'm going to introduce you to Mainframe. Mainframe can't hear you, Dr. Ernalyn, but she can hear me. Okay? Let's get her pulled up here. Good morning, Mainframe. Good morning, Mainframe. How are you?
Good morning, JP. I'm doing great, and I hope you're feeling energized and ready for the day. How's everything on your end?
Everything is wonderful. Today is that Wellness Wednesday I've been waiting for. Dr. Ernalyn Navarro is on with us live with Zoom.
That sounds amazing. Having Dr. Ernalyn Navarro on Wellness Wednesday is a fantastic highlight. I'm sure your listeners are going to get so much out of her insights. Let's make today uplifting and impactful.
Okay, so would you please give us an introduction of Miss Ernalyn Navarro? Who is Dr. Ernalyn Navarro as it pertains to RUHS?
Absolutely. Dr. Ernalyn Navarro is a licensed clinical social worker and an executive coach who serves as the AANHPI Cultural Community Liaison for Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health. She brings a wealth of experience in mental health with a particular focus on the unique challenges faced by Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. Her dual expertise in clinical social work and executive coaching shapes her holistic approach to cultural competency, making her a key advocate for mental health awareness and support within RUHS and the broader community. She's a dynamic leader dedicated to bridging cultural gaps and enhancing mental health services for diverse populations. Absolutely. Dr. Ernelin, it's an honor to have you with us today. Thank you for your dedication to wellness and mental health. We're all excited to hear your wisdom and insights. Let's make today a beacon of hope and healing for everyone listening.
Sounds
Cool,
good to
mainframe.
me.
I'll be back to you after a while. So
I love your chat GPT. That's the first time I've been introduced in that way. So I love it.
Wasn't that great? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is Dr. Ernelin Navarro in a nutshell. There's still so much more to her, I'm sure. And we're going to play another song before we get into the interview questions and things that we have to ask Dr. Ernelin today. Okay, and I'm going to play this Sweezy track. And you can look at Sweezy on this track and video and tell me where you think he might be from, because I believe he's Pacific Islander too.
Now it's so crazy, I've been thinking about you lately. I've been grinding, I've been waiting, cause the storm been trying to take me. I just keep it pushing, know that devil probably hate me. I'm so covered by the blood that he can't never come and take me. It's so hard these days, I know with life I'm learning patience. Even though I got some losses, I still know my God is gracious. My family in the kingdom know you all in better places. We cry while we on earth, cause we can't wait to see your faces. Yeah, I know there's no replacements, but when I'm feeling heavy and my heart is slowly aching, I look up to the sky and thank the good Lord that he made me. Cause while I'm on this earth, I'm on a mission in the making. I always keep it real, ain't got no time to do it faking. Got a target on my back and all these snakes be steady aiming. When it backfires on them, they know they must have been mistaken. Forgive them for their trespasses, I know I'm learning patience.
Lordy, can you hear me? Can you hear me calling, Lordy? Can you help me? Help me, Lord, Lordy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me calling, Lordy? Can you help me? Help me, Lord.
Right now my circle got so small, but we be steady rocking. I hate to hear these rumors, cause that means there's people talking. But I don't ever hear no facts, I just hear heavy gossip. A lot of jealous people never wanna see you blossom. Don't waste no energy on them, I hope you well and awesome. Cause all that bitterness can poison you, so just be cautious. I hope you proud when you look down, I know my father's watching. There's only life or death we choose, and that's the only options. I'm speaking facts upon this track, I hope you hear me talking. I pray this hits you with the smack like I was Nate from Stalking. I pray this opens up your heart, cause you don't do that often. And you don't wanna take that anger up inside your coffin. I hope one day you choose to throw away your trash and toss it. Cause all that baggage way too much and it's just way too costly. But I know one that paid the cost and covers all the losses. So won't you choose to walk in victory and join the bosses? Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me calling, Lordy? Can you help me? Help me, Lord, Lordy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me calling, Lordy? Can you help me? Help me, Lord. Heavenly Father, hear me calling, hear me praying to you, Jesus. Lordy, can you hear me? Can you hear me calling, Lordy? Can you help me? Hear me calling, Lordy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me calling, Lordy? Can you help me? Help me, Lord.
was Can You Hear Me Calling, coming to you from Sweezy. And it looks like Emisi. Dr. Ernalyn, you see the video, right?
Yeah, well, just watching it now, I love it. I love that song. Yeah.
Okay. So now, could you tell what culture they are by watching the video?
Well, I mean, there's a few elements in there just in terms of some traditional dance and then some of the clothing. It's hard to say, but then typically either Hawaiian, Samoan, or Tongan, some of the, those communities. But yeah, it's hard to pinpoint just based on those few elements that's there.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, but those cultures you named, are they Pacific Islander?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I
So
did a good
Pacific
pick.
Island. Yeah.
I picked a good one again. All right, so now I'm 2 for 2,
Yeah,
ladies
you
and
did.
gentlemen. All right, 2 for 2 here. 2 for 2 here.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think and I appreciate that you're exposing me to all these different music that I haven't had an opportunity. So now it's gonna have to check out and add them to my playlist. So thank you for that.
Yes, I will definitely send it over to you. And if any of these artists, and for your future endeavors, if you want me to try to reach out to get them and say, hey, Dr. Ernalyn is asking if you'll come and perform or whatever, I can reach out to them and introduce them to another world too, because I know they don't know who you are and what you're doing for Asian Pacific Islanders inside of our communities. And it would really be a huge bridge, because a lot of these artists are trying to figure out, well, how will I get out the gate? How will my career go? And with your support, you really, have so many connections, it can help them go to the next plateau. So
yeah, no, and as you can see, I mean, definitely through the arts, through music, those are different ways that we can send those different messages and of healing and just awareness as well. So I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, so now we get into the easy stuff, because that's what the Hemet beat does. Easy and excitement. We've already listened to Chat GPT, which I call my mainframe, give us a beautiful introduction of who Dr. Ernalyn is. Now we're going to dig a little deeper and talk to her. I've got the whole thing scheduled out. You can see the breakdown in front of you. The Hemet beat is mainly we do a lot of improv here. You guys know that. So this is how the show is going today. Okay, and then we have a chat asking what was the verse of the day. Today's verse was from Romans. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. It says, when others are happy, be happy with them. And when others are sad, be happy with them. And I'm dropping that over in the comments right now so that you're able to read it for yourself. And boom. All right, that is over inside of YouTube. Let's get back to these. See here. Question 1 for Dr. Ernalyn Navarro. What is AANHPI? Once again, I'm going to read that acronym. AAHPI, for those who don't know.
Well, so this month, May is actually, so we're at the tail end of it. So we are celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And so being able to raise awareness about the diverse culture that makes up, those different acronyms, right? So actually the term itself is fairly new. It was kind of put together back in the 70s when they're trying to promote Asian American studies and trying to collectively have a voice, because our communities comprise of so many different ethnic groups, so many different cultures, different languages. And so collectively, we wanted to come together to have all of our voices heard. And so now that's why we celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community Heritage Month in May.
Okay, so that is A for Asian American, AA, not Alcoholics Anonymous. This is immediately what I
Yeah.
think. N for Native American, right?
Native Hawaiian,
Native
NH.
Hawaiian,
Yeah.
NH, okay, and then
Mhm.
PI, Pacific Islander. So Asian
Right.
American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, AANHPI. You heard it right
Yeah.
here. I'm learning how to say it because last week I couldn't even get the acronym out my mouth. All right, so
All right. So I'm gonna make it a little bit more complicated for you because the committee that I oversee for RUHS Behavioral Health is called a PEDN Alliance. So we added a D in there, which represent DESI for the South Asian community. So again, very different, like as far as like India, Bangladesh, that community. Doesn't always identify with the AA part, the Asian American. And so far to be more inclusive, we added the D, which for DESI, would represent that South Asian part of the region of Asia. And so just wanted to make it a little bit more complicated, but AANHPI, for the most part, that's what's commonly known. But for our committee here in Riverside, ours is a PDEN Alliance. So we had the D there somewhere.
okay, that's a little more than what we have right here. Okay, so let me digest this one, please, Dr. Earl.
Yeah.
And then I'll catch up with the next one as we continue to talk and develop a relationship. Again, I want to tell you I appreciate you so much for coming on the show. You serve as the AANHPI Cultural Committee Liaison for RUHS Behavioral Health. What are
Right.
some of the unique mental health challenges facing Asian American and Pacific Islander communities in Riverside County today?
Well, most of the Asian American communities that I work or interact with are immigrants or children of immigrants. And so when you're talking about immigrant population, a lot of times we don't highlight or bring attention to the trauma that a lot of those communities have experienced from, starting from their countries of origin and their journey here. And then definitely when we arrived here, myself, I identify as Filipino American and I migrated here at the age of 14. And so when my family and I migrated here, then we have a whole other set of traumatic experience or high level of stress that we experience adjusting here, some of the racism, discrimination that we experience coming here, the change in lifestyle, all of that. So, and then for some, the language barrier, that wasn't true for myself because I already knew how to speak English before coming here. But for some Asian culture, Asian communities, that um, language barrier for a lot. And of course, understanding the different cultural practices here, very different from our different culture. Our understanding of healthcare and beliefs about mental health also very different. And so help seeking behavior is very low in Asian community because we tend to keep the problems to ourselves in our family. And so that's one of the biggest barrier. I think the other barrier for us, our community, is this whole model minority myth. And so there's this myth that came out in the early 60s around, civil rights, all of that. But then it was that term was meant to compare Japanese American who were imprisoned after, during World War II and or around World War II, sorry, and then with the African American community. And so that model minority has kind of plagued our community. So both putting pressure in our youth as well as really masking some of the other issues that our community have, for example, poverty, that we do have, poverty in a lot of different Asian communities all throughout the US. And so when you have that stereotype of, Asians are good at math, I happen to not be good at math. So those things, are part of that stereotype. And that stereotype is impacts our mental health and well-being. So
Okay,
so
and
there's a
now,
lot. There's a lot more, but those are the two that I want to highlight.
okay, so language barriers, yeah, and then
The immigrant
immigrant
trauma,
trauma,
definitely, yeah,
leaving home to come here, and then we're
yeah.
gonna touch on those in refugee camps at by the end of this, guys, because Dr. Erlin opened my eyes to what this really is, and she told me about sexual abuse that happens there, and the different things that can happen. I'm sure stealing and all kind of stuff. But she's gonna talk on that. I'm just putting the cart before the horse right here because that excites me. I'm tripped out about it. Okay, so now let's take a look at this next. Okay, you're both a licensed clinical social worker and an executive coach.
Mm.
How does that shape your approach to cultural competency? And I would add to that, please help us understand what is cultural competency, because I'm sure a lot of people don't even know that term.
So first of all, I have a master's degree in social work. So I started out as a social worker, licensed clinical social worker, and I still am a social worker. So I haven't, a lot of the work I do now as a cultural liaison, doing community organizing, advocacy, all of that is very much a core of what social work does. The executive coaching, I went through additional certification, licensing to become that. And then also my doctorate is in management. So I really found the need for, especially in the Asian American community, again, that whole stereotype that becomes our, what we call bamboo ceiling. A lot of Asians being not being promoted to higher level leadership. And so I became interested in providing executive coaching. So again, it's very different, LCSW, focusing on therapy, which I did working in a hospital setting. And then executive coaching, really more of a thinking partner for leaders and helping them grow, develop their team, and then maybe address some work-life balance issues. So there's a lot. I think there's some gray areas, but for the most part, I'm not diagnosing someone, I'm coaching. Whereas in therapy, part of in our notes and being able to get reimbursement, all of that, there's that need to be able to provide justification for why this person needs mental health treatment. So for me, what cultural competency, regardless of which role I am playing or I'm fulfilling, is really about understanding the person I'm working with and how they self-identify and what culture influence their beliefs, their practices, and how they view the world. So it's really respecting that, and that culture, and so being able to educate myself enough to understand the history behind what the country of origin that they come from. And then so there's the other part, I think, with it's not just about cultural competency, but also having cultural humility and really understanding that whether I'm the therapist or the coach, do not have the power. That really it's a shared relationship with the person I'm working with, and so they're educating me about how this is impacting them, what they've gone through, and then being able to help me understand how they're experiencing that trauma, as opposed to like I know it all because I have all these degrees and I have all these licenses. But it's really having that humility to understand how this is impacting them. So I think we need both cultural competency, really understanding, having the knowledge, and learning. And well, on both sides, cultural humility is all about learning, continuous learning, and also advocating, so for marginalized group. So I know that's a mouthful, but you're getting the Dr. Erlin lecture part of me.
Right, right,
So
right. And we appreciate that part of you because our community does need to be educated. And how do we know how to be culturally competent if someone doesn't explain to us. And now we have another word there, humility. So having the
Culture humility, yeah.
humility to be able to say, well, I don't know. Will you show me? Show me how I can respect your culture, you
Yeah.
know?
And it's both sides, right? So we cannot always expect to put the burden on that person. And this is what I appreciated about you, right? So in the conversation we had preparing for this, I'm telling you some things, but you're also doing your homework and researching. And so that way it doesn't put the burden all on me to try to educate you, even though, by default, I like teaching and, that's just naturally what I do. But I think for the most part, it's on us, to learn about other people culture also, and not to just depend on that other person, but it's really more of customizing, like how does this translate to, here's what I learned about your culture, tell me about how you practice your culture, so not assuming again what you read applies to this person that you're talking to. So that's really what cultural humility also means. So
Yeah, yeah. So, and I'm getting a crash course in this. And ladies and gentlemen, you are getting a crash course right along with me as Dr. Ernalyn Navarro explains to us cultural competency and the work that she does to bridge the gap for her culture and many we have Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. Okay, and we're also going to share with you how you can get involved. Okay, so now the fourth question on our list is, how do cultural values like resilience or family honor impact mental health conversations in the AAPI households?
So I want to talk about resilience in the Asian American Native Hawaiian community. So the term itself has sort of like a double meaning, right? So there's that part of saying that you're resilient. So it's almost like a badge of honor, that we endured all of this suffering, especially in the Asian culture. So, being able to, have that pride that, you're strong, all of that. And you can bounce back. But the other part that, is a challenge for us when that word resilience is put on us, is almost like that mindset that, oh, well, we don't need help. Oh, because you're resilient, you're not gonna need our help, so we won't help you. Whereas, so that whole help seeking behavior then kind of gets played into that whole resiliency. So I think being able to really, so some people weaponize that term resilient, like, oh, your community is resilient, so you're not going to need it. Or like in our case, well, we're resilient, so we don't need help, so we're just going to take care of our own. So there's that part of it. So I want to make sure that resiliency doesn't mean that we don't need help. Resiliency means as a community, we can have mutual aid, come together and be able to support each other and be able to bounce back. The other part, we're talking about, and this ties into the other concept of family honor. So in a lot of Asian cultures, we're a collective, instead of individualistic. And so what happens, what I do, what each member of our family does impacts the whole family. And so there's this pressure of not bringing shame to our family that would dishonor our family. And so that actually reminds me of the Disney movie Mulan, right? So in that movie, there's a song on reflection. And so being able to, and that song actually resonated with me, because then it's about like, how can I be my authentic self without dishonoring my family? And so there's that balance that a lot of our Asian American youth are having to navigate, of trying to find their authentic self, and then at the same time honoring family.
So now, did you just reference Reflection from Mulan?
Yes, I did. I love that song.
Isn't that beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? And to see the heart of a doctor, that she can go there with that, and she can take it to a what people would consider, oh well, that's kid stuff. Sometimes
Oh
you
no,
can't
yeah,
let go of the kid in your heart. You have to embrace that child. We are
yeah.
human, and
Well, and there's a lot actually in when you look at some of the Disney movies that are coming out now that specific to Asian American and Native Hawaiian community. There's a lot that you can learn from those movies that are like talks about family honor, and then mental health. Like the Turning Red show talks about intergenerational trauma, and this is about what she's Chinese Canadian, the character in that show. So there's a lot in the Disney that educates us, not just children, about mental health, about different culture
you
as well.
know
So that's what I appreciate.
as I'm listening to you, what I'm thinking is that this could be much broader, and maybe we could bring this to our clinics. Is taking and incorporating these movies.
Oh
And
yeah,
Chris was over at the Peer Support Center at Ruston, and he was talking to me about, Chris, right?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, and he was talking about Inside Out and how he's gonna
yeah.
do
Oh
a
no, yeah,
series on Inside Out. And what I
yeah,
suggested to him is, well, yeah, what would make it a lot interesting is hand out some Beanie Babies of these, Inside Out characters today. Okay, how are you feeling? Oh, I'm angry. All right, so
yeah,
you get the little red guy. Oh, you've got
yeah,
Joy. So here's
yeah,
Joy. And
yeah.
really bringing it to life.
Yeah, we're doing that already. So we're using movies like Inside Out and some of these other movies to be able to open up conversation. That's a great way to remove stigma around mental health is through movies. And so yeah, in fact I have a whole set of Inside Out stuff. That we had to postpone the show, but we were going to do it at one of the Filipino ministry at a for the Catholic Church. They were interested in providing some of those emotional intelligence, emotional regulation workshop for their youth, and we were going to use that show to have that conversation. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is that we should broaden it, because it can work for multiple communities, multiple cultures, and then
Yeah.
you have different ones that are related to, from Hispanic to Black to a Pacific Islander. It's just great, and I know we're segueing, we're getting off of the point here, but this is
Sorry.
just a great idea. You know what I mean? Okay, so.
Yeah.
As someone who leads in both clinical and executive spaces, what's one therapy principle more leaders should embrace? And for this one, I'm going to disappear myself, because this is that moment that people are going to hear something excellent from Dr. Navarro, and I want to let her have this moment to herself.
Like that's kind of a high pressure there, right? So for me, one of the things that I hope that a lot of companies and a lot of leaders learn more about is in psychology, positive psychology, is the concept of emotional intelligence. And so really important for us, and I know in schools now we have social emotional learning, where kids are learning about their emotions, expressing their emotions and regulating their emotions. Well, we need, so a lot of our leaders who are leaders now may not have received that type of training in school because that wasn't part of the curriculum. And in some parts of the country, it's still not part of their curriculum. So for in organizations, we need that social emotional learning or emotional intelligence. And so it's really about self-awareness, so really understanding about myself, understanding my moods, my emotions, and how it affects other people. And then the self-management part, so that's the other component, is being able to regulate those moods and emotion. And then on the social part is really about that social awareness and being able to recognize, how other people are feeling, how other people are reacting, and then having the social skills. And so those are the four components: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social skills, right? So again, being able to, like, kind of what the Bible verse that you had today. So if you feel sad, I'll feel sad. If you feel happy. And so those are all part of that social awareness and social skills, and then being able to manage all of that. So that, I think will make a great leader if you can lead a team, and be empathetic, show compassion, but then also be able to, we're going to have bad days, at work, but being able to then self-regulate and reset your nervous system so that you can manage and get through your day, whether it's high stress, level. So I think especially high stress level, that's where when you're able to regulate your nervous system or your emotions, then you're able to be the best version of yourself. And so that's what I think we need more, and educating leaders more. And so more and more, like with executive coaching, these are some of the concepts that we try to help the people that we're working with. So emotional
Okay.
intelligence, definitely.
Okay, and I just want to say, as you guys are witnessing the brilliance of Dr. Navarro, you can see that she knows her stuff. We're gonna play this tape back. I'm gonna make some reels out of this, and we're gonna dish it out to the people. How you eat an elephant? A person told me is one bite at a time. That's what they told me. Okay, so we're gonna eat this elephant one bite at a time. Let's put her back over here halfway. And now for the fun part, ladies and gentlemen, we found out that Dr. Navarro likes the Black Eyed Peas, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if she likes it with cornbread and rice or ham hocks and greens, but she likes the Black Eyed Peas. Now, so would you go ahead and tell us about the Black Eyed Peas and the interesting fun fact? And I'm going to pull up some pictures of some of the things that I found online.
Well, yeah. So I learned something from you, because the only person that I knew in Black Eyed Peas who's Filipino, well, he's Blasian, right? So half Filipino, half African American, and is Apple. And he has, in fact, influenced some of the songs that they have. So one of them is, that very popular in the Filipino community is Bebot, which, in the music video is referring to a younger sister, but female, right? So Bebot, it's like a slang word, but in that song, he uses a lot of cultural elements in the lyrics, and then he's, of course, he keeps repeating Filipino, and that, so it becomes an anthem for a lot of Filipino American. So that's why, and then of course, some of the other Black Eyed Peas songs I like, but that one in particular of resonated being Filipino American, and it's like an anthem for us. Is that song Bebot?
Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can just sneak a little bit of Bebot in here without getting in trouble with YouTube. Okay, so let's look it up. All right, that's our playlist. I don't want to move that, but I should be able to find it over here. And Bebot by the Black Eyed Peas. Okay, they did not recognize the word Bebot, so
it's Bebot.
Bebot. Okay, and
yeah, that's the first one. Yeah.
And this is just the intro, ladies and gentlemen.
Apple! Hurry up! And Tabo, you like chicken adobo?
You got chicken
We have adobo. Yes, you want to eat? Chicken adobo.
Chicken adobo.
You will eat first, ha? Apple! Josco, calm down! Ah!
Hey, guys.
Oh, what did you do? Oh, you comb your hair? You put
Mom, I just comb. It's okay, Mom.
Did you brush your teeth?
Yes, Mom, I
Huh?
did.
And then you put this up,
Oh,
naman.
my God. It's embarrassing.
Then where are you going?
We're just gonna go chill at the park, don't worry.
You go to the park. Bring your baby sister, Jasmine.
God.
Jasmine.
Oh, Mom, I don't want a babysitter.
Here,
then.
hey guys.
Oh, Mom.
Jasmine, oh, you go with your kuya.
wanna
Oh,
bring
can you bring her with
Yeah,
you?
she can hang out with me.
Oh, please,
Come on, let's
not
go.
your sister. No, you go with your
All
kuya.
right, you hang out with Ferg. I hang out with
You
my...
come home early, huh?
Come on,
Take care of
let's go,
the-
man. All right. Oh, Mom, I'll see you later.
Bye, Mom. Bye. Have a good day. Have a good day. Apon, ingat, be good.
That's about it. That's about it. We're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna get in trouble with YouTube. I know they're gonna kick us off. They're gonna be like, "No, you didn't play the whole Bebot video." But if you want to see more of the Black Eyed Peas, Bebot and Dr. Erdelman is telling us about who this Bebot is and what it means in their culture, and that this young man is both black and Filipino. Now, when I was looking up, and I found another Filipino that they've brought on the scene, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Google. Once again, here we go with the AI. Who is the Filipina singer in Black Eyed Peas? Okay, and this is the new Filipina singer that they have brought. Oh, wait, nope, they brought him up. Let's see here. Filipino. I want Filipina. That was the key word, I believe it was. The Filipina singer. Okay, Filipina singer and Black Eyed Peas. Her name is J. Ray Soul. Okay, J. Ray. So we're gonna shout you out right now, and let's see what it says about her. Okay, let's see. It says that, let me shrink this down so I can see it better. There we go. The Filipina singer and Black Eyed Peas is J. Ray Soul. She joined the group in 2018 and is known for her soulful vocals. J. Ray Soul's official name is Jessica Joy Sierra Reynoso. Okay, now are any of those names traditional Filipino?
Well, no, those combination it kind of makes it, but it's Reynoso. It's not really Filipino. It's from the Spanish roots that we have, but it's just a combination of names. But yeah.
Okay, so she is a Filipina American singer who also participated in the first season of The Voice of the Philippines, where she was on Coach Apple D. Apps team. Okay, so he heard her as she was on his team and said, you know what, I'm going to take this girl to the next level. And now she is a part of the Black Eyed Peas. Born in 1997, October 7th, Jessica Joy Sierra. Check her out. Check out the Black Eyed Peas. Bebot. All right. Let's see.
Yeah.
We are now at 9:18. Dr. Erdelman, I will give you the choice. Would you like to play another track all the way through, or would you like to go on with the next question?
Yeah, it's up to you. I love listening to music, so if you want to have combination of conversation and music, I'm open to that.
Okay, so the next questions, all right, we only have two. All right, so we'll ask that, and then we'll leave off with a good song and bob our heads to letting people leave us after we have it. It goes so quick. I can't believe it's already 9:20 right now. You know,
Yeah,
that's crazy. All right, so what's something your colleagues might not guess about you? Something.
Well, I think more and more my colleagues know about me, but is, so for me, I am a community resiliency model teacher. That part they know. But one of the ways that I practice resiliency is through resourcing. And so one of my biggest resource, my guilty pleasure that you phrase it as, is watching Korean drama. So K-drama. And listening to the original soundtrack of those K-drama. And so and learning Korean language through that. I've been to Korea a couple of times as well. So for me, the K-drama, like sometimes I end up binge watching them. So it's a great way to de-stress, great way to reset my nervous system, because watching them, especially the romantic comedy ones, they're fun. There's a lot of like lessons learned from that. Some of them we were talking about, watching movies to talk about mental health. There's a lot of K-drama also that talks about mental health and healing and trauma and all of that. And so it's a great way to educate people as well, through K-drama. And K-drama is global popular, so both Netflix and some of the other streaming channels. So if you haven't watched it, the first one I watched was Hometown Cha Cha Cha. That one has a trauma, in that experience, story as well. There's a lot of little stories in there. That's great. If you want romantic comedy, my favorite one is Crash Landing on You. Mental health one related is one that's called It's Okay Not to Be Okay. So those three, I think, were the first three that I watched 3 years ago when I got into K-drama.
Okay, so now can you give us a monologue from K-drama?
Monologue. I don't know. I'm not sure like what that would. Oh, like in Korean, right?
Go ahead, however you can deliver it. If you're down to do it, we're down to watch.
Well, because I watch a lot of K-drama that's romantic comedy. So then, of course, they always say "I love you," right? So in Korean, it's sarang해, and so they do a lot of the finger hearts. And so if you see that like this, those are those are things that became popular in K-drama. The finger hearts, the heart, and so sarang해, 감사합니다 is thank you. So yeah, that's it.
Okay,
No, I
so
do
I
know
learned
a lot more Korean words, but
sangrade is what you said, right? Sangrade?
saranghe,
Sangrahe. Sangrahe means I love you. Okay,
close
sangrahe.
enough. Yeah.
And then what was thank you?
감사합니다.
Kansammiha.
감사합니다. Yeah.
Kansammiha. Okay, but you see I'm
That's
trying
good.
here.
That's close.
You see I'm
Like,
trying
so you
here.
can't have a Filipino teaching you Korean. I'm just learning myself. So if you want to
That's
know,
good.
ask Google how to pronounce it better. But I think mine is doable. At least I got by in Korea when I was there, and I'm going again to Korea in July for a mission trip. Yeah.
Okay, so now this is the question I've been waiting for. It says, tell us about the refugee camps. I'm going to pull up some images so you guys can see what these refugee camps look like, okay, and what it takes to survive, and how the Vietnam War made such a crucial impact. Talk to us about, due to the devastation of the war, many Asian families were welcomed into America. All those things that you were telling me, and you have 7 minutes if we don't have to play another song, because I'm so interested to hear your points of view and hear what really took place as I show these pictures. Okay?
But so first of all, I don't have a lived experience or firsthand experience of living in refugee camps. And so what I know is from studying and also having people I know who have personally lived in those refugee camps, as well as, have experience. So I think one of the things, it's perfect timing that we're having this conversation, because last month marked the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. And so that's when US pulled out of the Vietnam War, right? So everyone knows about Vietnam War, but very few people, or still maybe not, remember what happens after US pulled out of Vietnam. And so there was a lot of Vietnamese, fearing for their lives, when the northern Vietnamese, the communist Vietnamese took over. So there's a lot who were able to leave because they had the resources, but there was a lot that ended up what we call boat people, and so they fled Vietnam to the neighboring countries, and a lot of those neighboring countries, like the Philippines, also don't have the resources, and so they end up, having like a refugee camp, or what they call processing centers, and so until they can find home countries, right? So U.S. is not the only country that took in Vietnamese refugees or Southeast Asian refugees, but US took a big bulk because they had to take some responsibility with what they did, in those countries, right? So, but Australia, European countries, Canada also took in, Southeast Asian refugees. So you can see in these pictures, those conditions because, like, yeah, Thailand, Philippines. So these are, yeah, those are
Now
the
that's what you
pictures of
said,
boat
boat
people.
people. These
Yeah. Right. So
Vietnamese
a lot
boat
of them,
people.
yeah, a lot of them didn't make it. And then for some, they were also, there were pirates, that stopped them. And so there's a lot, that
Wow.
they
Okay, so you didn't mention that last time. There are
Yeah, no, I
pirates
did not.
now
But that
inside
is
of the
part of,
story.
because they know some of these people fleeing their countries have some possessions of whether it's, jewelry, anything that, so anything that they can take from them. But yeah, so the conditions in those refugee camps is unhealthy, and so when you have a crowded people, and there's really no like clear regulation or oversight, so then there's you know human trafficking happening, poverty, assault, family violence, and so and definitely food insecurity, hunger, in a lot of those conditions. And then it took many years for some people to be there, for their papers, immigration papers, to be processed to be able to get out of those refugee camps. And so and then that's part of that trauma that I was talking about earlier, that a lot of the people are still experiencing like post-traumatic, right, PTSD, and then even their children are impacted by the trauma their parents experienced, so that intergenerational trauma. And so it's been 50 years, since the
Yeah.
fall of Saigon. Yeah.
Right. So, as we Black Americans are looking at what we're seeing right now, our ghettos and the projects, that we come from. And I want you to keep in mind, it's called a project for a reason. And it's one of the American projects. And you're part of that project. If you can come out of it in any way, just like these people that you see on the screen, do so. Get your mind right, and come over to the other side. I mean, we're talking human trafficking. You see that in the projects, and I'm just trying to bring it to a level where I can relate. Okay, and it's happened from community to community, from Black people to Spanish people to every different race. There, I've looked around, and everybody has had slaves. Everybody has a project. You can always find downtown and drugs in any area that you go to. So now, what is the name of those jeeps? Let's leave with that.
Oh, you're talking about the Filipino jeep. So in the Philippines, World War II, Americans were there, right? So they left their jeeps, and
what's the
in the
name of them?
U.S. In the Philippines.
What's the name so
But
I can pull them up?
Oh, jeepneys. Those
Jeepneys.
Jeepney. Yeah.
Ney. And look at how
Yeah.
creative these people are. Watch this.
Yeah, so they've converted those jeeps into public transportation, and they decorated them. So when you visit the Philippines, you'll see, these jeepneys, and the base of those transportation is from the regular jeeps that the American, and then of course now they built their own. But that was kind of the origin of that, is something that was part of the war, World War II, and then being resourceful and putting it to use, and then of course colors and making it attractive. That's become one of the major transportation in different parts of the Philippines. So jeepneys.
A final comment here, and he says thank you with big blessed hands raised on this side. You may be able to see it on the share when I send the video over to you, but I'm going to go ahead and download everything. We are now approaching 9:29. Did you have any final words? We have the time because I'm not going to just cut you off. And it says so. From closing resilience to representation, from faith and healing, Dr. Ernelin reminded us that behind every community is a story of survival and beauty. Let us remember where wellness starts. Let us remember that wellness starts with listening. And I believe that to be very true. Wellness starts with listening. You have to hear a person out. If you don't listen to them, how will you know how to help them?
Yeah, and I think, something that you said in that, it just reminded me of what else is also true, right? So, and as you heard, and you've seen some of the different stories, pictures, is that we are really made of both struggle and strength. And so when you're talking about being trauma informed and understanding what happened to our community and what's happening to our community right now with all of the, craziness around immigration, and so it's our communities being re-traumatized by all that fear again. But then that strength in community, strength of resilience. And so we're made out of both strength and struggle. And so we have to embrace that and be able to heal from and together. I think, that's the whole part about being able to work with the different cultures, different groups, and educating yourself, and really understanding and having empathy and compassion, for those people, for us. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ernelin. Our time is up for today. You have been tuned into the Hemet Beat Daily Show, and Dr. Ernelin Navarro graciously gave us awesome information. Take it, use it. If you want to get in touch with Dr. Ernelin, do you have handles? What is the best way to get in touch with you to get involved with the Asian American, Pacific Islander, Hawaiian Native?
Yeah, well, so if you go to the Riverside University Health System, behavioral health, under cultural competency, you'll see a list of the different committees. So our committee is the APIDN Alliance, so Asian Pacific Islander, Desi American, and Native Hawaiian Alliance. And so our email's there, which is apidn.alliance@gmail. That's the best way to get in touch with us if you're interested in learning more about what the work that we're doing out in the community, with the different partners we have with our APIDN Alliance. Feel free to send us an email, attend some of our events. We're always at the Lunar Festival downtown, Riverside, but we're pretty much in a lot of different events as well. So, so we hope to hear from you if you need us to provide information or be at your event to educate the community as well. Let us know and reach out to us.
Okay, and you can also contact us here at the Hemet Beat. That is the Hemet Beat at gmail.com, TheHemetBeat@gmail.com. And you can also reach us at 951-305-0997. Once again, that's 951-305-0997. We will connect you with the Asian Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian group. And what's the D for again?
Desi, DESI.
I like the sound of the name, and I just haven't met a Desi in my life, I don't think, but I'm sure hanging out with Dr. Ernelin, I soon will. Thank you so much, Dr. Ernelin, once again. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone.